And actually, I attended the Chaos Communication Congress in Berlin in 2008, and there was this interesting talk about opening garage doors, and actually I listened. So now I'm waiting in front of his house and waiting for him to leave his house and his garage and to send some messages I can record.
Yes, and I get up early in the morning, as usual, 11:30, and I have my breakfast, and before going to the beach, I open my garage, and then I go into my car and take my surfboard, and then I drive away with the car. Brum, 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 brum. Of course, I do not forget to lock the garage. It's locked again, and I'm off to the beach, right? I'm gone, very far away.
So now I have the manufacturer key, and because the serial number was transmitted in plain text, I also have the serial number, which we can already see here. And for the key derivation, all I have to know is those two things, the manufacturer key and the serial number. And so now I'm sitting in my car and can do my own key derivation. I end up with the key. I can decrypt the message to get the counter value. And then I just open the garage. I enter the garage, I get all my tools back, which I borrowed to my neighbor over the last years. And of course, then I leave the garage again, and I'll close it after I leave.
Yes, and I come after a nice day on the beach, I come back home, come with my car, I try to open the garage. You already notice it, nothing happens, but I'm used to it. These modern systems are not very reliable. I press another time and the door opens. I park my car and I suddenly look around, something's different. Where are all the tools that I took away from Thomas? I notice now I'm in a very difficult situation because I always had this transmitter in my pocket, so no one can have access to my garage. It's a highly secure key-lock system. And there are no, if he was a little bit clever, there are no fingerprints, and there's no proof. How can I tell my insurance now that he had been into my garage or house? So I'm not really happy about this. Hate you.
Hey.
Yeah.
We're all friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what you just saw, it works for all key derivation schemes we are aware of. And it works instantly, as we just presented it in all cases where the serial number is used in the key derivation. If there's a seed used, we need some calculation time with the PC to recover the seed. And if it's a very long seed, we might even need some special crypto hardware like the Copacabana, which was also developed at our chair.
Yeah.
So,
we quickly have a look again what happened here during this attack. Why did it work so quickly? What went on? So we eavesdropped. One is sufficient on one of the hopping codes. So we had the serial number. We have the input to this. We also have the manufacturer key, either because of a sidechain attack or from somewhere else, social engineering. So we can at once calculate the device key. And if we have the device key, Thomas intercepted one hopping code. So he knows the current counter value in the receiver, decrypt the roaring code, generate the next valid counter, and open the garage. Important to mention that this extraction of the manufacturer key just has to be done once for every manufacturer, right? So knowing the manufacturer key of one manufacturer lets you perform this attack on all of his systems. And of course, even if you cannot do the side-channel attack on your own, you might either ask some kernel cryptographer, or we don't know, maybe after the 2025C3, there's a long list with all the manufacturer keys on the internet, wherever you get it from. The problem is with the knowledge of this key, the whole security of the whole system falls. And that's the big flaw. Yeah, we can even go one step further. There's one question here. The question was if we could perform a brute force attack on this counter, and the answer is yes, and we come back to this at the end of the talk. Okay? There's another slide for this. So we can go one step further and take over the whole key-lock system. And for this we need to have a closer look at this counter again. In theory it could be unlimited, but in practice usually you have like 16 bits, say 16 bits, 65,000 values, and then you start again from value 2, so you can draw it like a circle. The green dot indicates the current counter in the remote control, and the red dot the one in the receiver. And now maybe it might happen that, for example, your daughter, she plays with this remote control. What happens is that the counter in the remote control is a little bit ahead of the counter in the receiver. So now if you press 2 times on the remote control, the value in the receiver will resynchronize to the value in the counter. Okay? So this is also what we saw why I had to press 2 times. Resynchronizes to this, and now usually when we press on the remote control, the counter is increased by 1. Now with this software and the expensive equipment from the hardware store, we can of course generate any valid counter. So let's just produce this counter value here. What would happen is that the original remote of the original owner is the beginning of this block window. And this means for the owner, for the original remote, that he has to press like 30,000 times now to open his garage. We can also quickly demonstrate this, of course. So maybe Thomas, you are the victim this time, no? Can you
Okay.
Where's this? Here.
I think you have it, yeah.
My pocket. So we intercept the last values to make it more accurate. So the last value was 747, like Cologne. And we raise the counter now by 5, so we have 5 to and send the new value. Now the receiver is approximately 5 times ahead. And
I have to press a couple of times.
Yeah.
Press
1,
1,
2,
2, 3.
4. Ah, it's opening. Okay. So we already saw this, and now we just raise this value by, say, 5,000. 5,000, 1. Oh, nothing is happening. This is not good. You can imagine what would happen. Oh, it's going on. Something is going on. I had to press twice because to start the resynchronization of the receiver. So now Thomas can press very, very often. Maybe you give it to someone in the audience.
Who wants to press?
You win a prize. You win a prize. If you succeed in opening this door, you win a prize until the end of the talk. So we have to hurry up. We need to speed up now.
Good motivation, yeah.
Back to the talk. So, yes. Now, of course, you are pressing there. Of course, we can still open the garage. No problem. You can press as much as you like. We just click on the button. It's still open. You can press as often as you like. No chance for you. So, that was the practical part. And we're getting very, very close to the very, very end of the talk.
Yeah, so let's start with the summary. So what you saw is that, what we showed is that security only by obscurity makes insecure system. The cipher was kept secret, and shortly after it came out, also other groups were able to break this. So do not rely on obscurity for security.
Yeah, you see this, what Carsten and Starbuck did, the reverse engineering stuff in the morning. You saw all the fuss about other ciphers, other weak ciphers that were kept secret, and one day the crypto community knows about the ciphers, they are broken very quickly. It always explodes if you just try to produce the security only by obscurity. Though obscurity can be a good additional ingredient for a good security, no problem. Yeah, we also showed that DPA works for commercial access control systems. Hopefully everyone has seen that this works.
And we also showed, hopefully, that some of the severe attacks can also be done by non-specialists. So not everybody needs to have an expensive scope at home to perform this attack and has to have security training at the Ruhr University Bochum or something like that.
Yeah, we've got a very good, you can study IT security in Bochum, of course. I can recommend this to everyone. You study IT security and then you know what real security is. Sidechain attacks are a real threat for all unprotected implementations of cryptography. This includes everything. The AES, Advanced Encryption Standard, is being used by the NSA for top secret messages. If you implement it without any side-channel resistance, it's very straightforward and very easy to break it, even the mathematically very secure ciphers. So also in the case of Keylog, it's not the weak cipher that made this attack possible, but it's the fact that it's implemented in a non-side-channel resistant way. And yes, all the floors with the key management, of course.
And what's also true is that although side channel attacks have been known for about 10 years now, most of the embedded systems you will find on the market still don't have any protections against side channel attacks. And yeah, well.
And it's really laughed because we saw it's not a very new thing. It's known for a very long time already. The side channel attacks. Yeah. We're getting in trouble at the time.
Yeah.
Disclaimer, our attacks do not imply that real-world systems have actually been attacked by SCA by criminals, merely by researchers. And we've got some literature here. The first is we published this attack on the Crypto Conference. You see, we do not only like long titles, but also long lists of authors. And one of the authors is also worth mentioning here on the 25C3. It's Amir Moradi. He should be a member of our group in Bochum. And he applied for a visa several years ago. Several months ago. But there is one problem because he's from Iran and he is working on security topics. So he's still waiting for his visa. Very bright researcher, and he helped us a lot with this. And we are very unhappy that the state does not allow him to work with us. It's a shame.
Not yet. We hope this will change next year. Yeah.
Yeah. Then we have the mathematical papers here, Andrei Bogdanov, and then the proof in text by Courtois and Sebastian Indestegel. Thomas,
Yeah.
I've got this highly secure keylog system now in my car. Do you have any recommendation what I can do now?
Well, of course, this question came several times. And actually, when I was walking through the street a few weeks ago, I saw quite a good solution, I think. Maybe you also want to try that for your car. Well...
Okay, I first show the picture now.
Huh?
You can show the picture first. Yeah, this is the solution. Yeah, we skipped the advertisement because we want to mention two important conferences. One is the CHESS conference, takes place next year, 2009, 6th to 9th September in Switzerland. The CHESS, Cryptographic Hardware and Embedded Systems, was founded by our boss, Professor Christoph Pain, and he's now, the conference is now the most important conference for all things concerning side channel attack and implementations in hardware. So everyone who's interested in the topic in general should definitely go there.
And the other one we want to advertise for is Eurocrypt, which will be held in Cologne next year, in April. And it's one of the biggest crypto conferences, and it's organized by the HGI, which we are also part of. It's a crypto group in Bochum, basically.
We are very proud that this takes place in Germany, this conference.
All right.
And to answer the very first question about brute forcing the seed space, when you use a random seed for the key derivation of the serial, it has something to do with a cost-optimized parallel code breaker. And we looked a long time for a name, and one colleague said Copacabana. We said, yes, Copacabana is a very good name for it. It's 120 FPGAs operating in parallel. The result looks like this. And it can break a lot of problems. It can break the DES in 6.4 days on average. It can break the A51 that is used for GSM communication, electronic passports, so it can track identities, steal identities, track people, and we can break keylog. And here's the numbers. This is just a very straightforward implementation, just to have some numbers, how long it would take. The 32-bit seed is used, one FPGA, 39 seconds. Okay, that's real time. For an 48-bit seed, it takes 6 hours and 1 Copacabana, and now if ever the 60-bit seed would be used, it would be secure to brute force. The only problem with this is that we never saw a system in practice where the seed is used. And of course, after our attacks, we had a lot of new friends, and manufacturers came and talked with us, and we asked them, why don't you use this seed? And the very interesting answer is that it's too complicated for the customer to have a separate button for sending the seed in the remote control. That's the reason why these systems are not used in the field. The reason is that the customer is not able to enter the second button for the seed.
Yeah, customer acceptance factor, yeah.
Okay, now we are ready for more questions. I think there were some more questions somewhere.
There was something about the brute force.
Will you be running around with the microphone, no?
I would ask you to just repeat the question so I don't have to run around.
Shout and I will repeat the question.